Okay, classes, so you were supposed to go through the text with your partner, highlight all of the information, not just the individual words, but the information that you understand. And you were supposed to circle the forms of kann, soll, muss, darf, and will. I've gone through and I have circled all the ones that I found very quickly, so I might have missed one, and if I did, I'll go back and correct it. So now it's time to take a look at the text. So let's make sure that we understand it. Vielleicht wird alles gut. You should understand easily alles gut, all good, but you should also know wird. Wird, like Sabine wird eifersüchtig auf die Schaufensterpuppe, means becomes. Vielleicht means maybe. So maybe becomes all good. And if you work that around in your brain a little bit, you might get to the conclusion, maybe it'll all turn out okay, or it will all be okay. And that's what the title is referencing. So vielleicht wird alles gut, maybe it'll all be okay. So we start off here. We start off with Ich heiße Lena und bin 12 Jahre alt. You should have highlighted all of that because there's nothing in there you shouldn't understand. I am called Lena and I am 12 years old. Ich bin ziemlich schlecht in der Schule. Most people have been understanding ich bin in der Schule, which means I am in school. Schlecht looks like it should be a relative in der Familie von dem Wort schrecklich. Schrecklich, as you know, means terrible. Schlecht is nicht so intensiv. It's not quite as intense as schrecklich. It just means bad. So without that word ziemlich, which you don't even need, we're just going to completely avoid. Ich bin schlecht in der Schule. I am bad at school. So then we've got ich kann nicht gut lesen. And you should understand all of that as well. Ich kann nicht gut lesen. I cannot read well. Some people have been getting stuck on that word lesen because they don't know that word read, but lesen means read. Now, you're going to start seeing a pattern here develop. When we look at these circled words, these kann, muss, soll, will, darf, you're going to start seeing a pattern develop. If we read this sentence word for word, we end up with I cannot good read. Auf English we would have to say I can't read well, but auf Deutsch we have to say ich kann nicht gut lesen. I cannot good read. And we'll talk about we'll establish that pattern here in just a minute or two. So, ich kann nicht gut lesen und bei Diktaten habe ich immer viele Fehler. A lot of people have understood fairly easily habe ich immer. I always have. Okay. Diktaten. I want to talk about Diktaten here. This word Diktaten. This used to be a very popular teaching strategy in both Deutschland and America. It's still very popular in Deutschland, not so popular here. It kind of went away in about the 50s or 60s sometime. Diktaten looks like the word dictate. And for example, right now I am dictating to you. I am explaining to you, I'm saying something to you. But Diktaten, that has more an idea that the teacher would talk and the students would write down. And for this diktat, the student's job was to write down things perfectly. So they were testing spelling and punctuation and capitalization and all of that. And so if Elena is saying that she's not good in school, and she says, bei Diktaten habe ich immer viele Fehler, people have been coming to the conclusion that Fehler can mean failure, which is kind of what it looks like. But it's not quite a failure, it's a very small failure, like a mistake. A failure is a mistake. So what we're saying is, bei Diktaten habe ich immer viele Fehler. So when I do dictations, I have a lot of mistakes. Okay, gut. Die Lehrerin meint, ich muss mehr lernen. Lots of people have understood die Lehrerin. Meint has been confusing, but we can make a good logical guess. Die Lehrerin meint, ich muss mehr lernen. And people have guessed, I must learn more. But lernen is a false cognate. It actually means study. And again, we've got this circled word muss. And with this circled word, we've got lernen here. Ich muss mehr lernen. If we go word for word, we're saying I must more study. Instead of saying auf Englisch, I must study more, auf Deutsch we have to say, ich muss mehr lernen, I must more study. So we get back to this and we say, die Lehrerin meint, the teacher thinks or believes or expects or whatever. Any of those would work for meint. Then we go, meine Lehrerin sagt, ich soll mit meiner Mutter jeden Tag lernen. And most people have understood this to mean, meine Lehrerin sagt, my teacher says, ich soll mit meiner Mutter jeden Tag lernen. Ich soll, meaning I should, mit meiner Mutter jeden Tag lernen. Again, we know that lernen means study. So, ich soll mit meiner Mutter jeden Tag lernen. I should study with my mother. Jeden Tag means every day. But again, we have this circled word soll. So if we go word for word, I should with my mother every day study. Das ist Deutsch. That's how we have to say it auf Deutsch. So we've got ich soll mit meiner Mutter jeden Tag lernen. I should with my mother every day study. Okay, sehr gut, sehr gut. So let's take a look at the next paragraph. Let's see if we can get this pattern down. By now, you should have noticed that in this pattern, we have this black word, this kann, and then your lesen is going to go at the end. Muss, and then lernen am Ende. Soll, and then lernen am Ende. So your action word is going to come at the end. That's not how it is in English, but that is how it is auf Deutsch. So we say, I cannot good read. I must more study. I should with my mother every day study. So we've got our action am Ende. Let's see if that holds up with the other circled words we have. All right, so, aber meine Mutter kann mit mir nicht lernen. So people have understood this to mean, but my mother, meine Mutter kann mit mir nicht lernen. Notice we're looking for our word, our action am Ende. We've got lernen again, which we know means study. So, aber meine Mutter, but my mother, can not study with me. But we're saying, but my mother can with me not study. So again, we have our kann und dann lernen am Ende. All right. Next sentence. Sie arbeitet bis 19 Uhr. She works until 19 Uhr, until 7 o'clock. Sie arbeitet bis 19 Uhr. Notice we don't have anything circled there, so we don't have to worry about anything am Ende. It's only with those kann, soll, muss, darf words. It's really only that we have to worry about it with kann, soll, muss, darf, und will. All right. So then we say, mein Vater kommt 4 Uhr nach Hause und schimpft und macht Lärm. Most people understood this part to mean mein Vater kommt 4 Uhr nach Hause. My dad comes home at 4 o'clock. We didn't worry about und schimpft und macht Lärm because we don't need it for the text. So we just skip it. We just completely ignore all of this right here because we don't need any of that. Then we get to the part that says, will Kaffee trinken und Kuchen essen. And most people understood that, will Kaffee trinken und Kuchen essen. Now we've got will, which means that we are going to be looking for our action word am Ende. And we do have essen. But we also have trinken here, and trinken is not at the end. And the hypothesis that we came up with is that because we have this und, we have two separate actions. Will Kaffee trinken und Kuchen essen. Now will, this is one you'll want to have in your Notizen. A lot of people mistake will for will. It actually means want or wants. So, when we say will, we're saying he wants. And when we read this, we have to read it to say he wants to drink coffee and eat cake. Auf English, we say he wants to drink coffee and eat cake, but auf Deutsch, if we go word for word, we have to say he wants coffee to drink and cake to eat. And so that's how that works out. The next sentence. Also muss ich aus der Kaufhalle Kuchen holen und Kaffee kochen. So most people understood also muss ich. Now that also, people think it means also. It actually just means so. So muss ich. So we're saying, so I must. And then with that muss, we have to once again look for our action, am Ende, which we have here with kochen. And notice we have also holen. We've got that und separating them. So what we're saying, we'll do the easy one first. Also muss ich, so I must Kaffee kochen. I must cook the Kaffee, which auf Deutsch is what you do. You cook Kaffee. You don't make Kaffee. You cook it. So, also muss ich aus der Kaufhalle Kaffee kochen und Kuchen holen. Now, holen means get. I need to go procure some cake. So I need to go get coffee from the Kaufhalle, aus der Kaufhalle. So I need to go get my cake from the Kaufhalle und Kaffee kochen, and I need to cook the coffee. So once again, we've got muss, and then we've got our holen und kochen. We've got our actions at the end. The next section, we're saying, ich habe zu Hause viel. So, ich habe zu Hause, I have at home, viel, I have at home a lot to. And what we're saying with that sentence is, I have a lot to do. So tun is right there, to do. There was no kann, soll, muss, darf, so we don't need to highlight anything or circle anything there, so we're not even worried about anything else. Next sentence, we've got, wann soll ich lernen? Notice we've got a circle, so we have to expect to see our action at the end, which we do have. Wann soll ich lernen? When should I learn? Or, sorry, when should I study? Remember that our lernen means study. Then we've got, wann soll ich die Hausaufgaben machen? When should I do the homework? Notice that right here, you've got your machen am Ende. We've got our action right there am Ende. When should I do the homework? And notice that auf Deutsch, if we go word for word, we have to say, when should I the homework do? That's how we have to say it auf Deutsch. The next sentence, das kann ich aber meiner Lehrerin nicht erzählen. Most people had trouble with this one because of that word erzählen, but I'm going to go ahead and give you that one, see if you can figure it out from there. Erzählen means tell. Now notice we have our kann, so that means that erzählen is our action. Tell is our action. Das kann ich aber meiner Lehrerin nicht erzählen. What we're saying is, I cannot tell my teacher that. And when we read this sentence, this one gets really complicated. We start with das, that can I but my teacher not tell. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you read it word for word, but this is how Germans can put their sentences together. That can I but my teacher not tell. When you rearrange it to make sense in English, you have all the parts, you just rearrange it to say, but I can't tell my teacher that. So, das kann ich aber meiner Lehrerin nicht erzählen. That can I but my teacher not tell. So, then we get to the next sentence. Aber Regina will mir helfen. Regina will mir helfen. Remember, will doesn't mean will, it means wants. Regina wants. And we've got that circle there, which means that our action is here, helfen. Regina wants to help me. Or if you read it word for word, then we're saying Regina wants me to help. But we actually are saying Regina wants to help me. Regina ist meine Freundin, she's my friend, and we know she's a friend, a female friend, because we've got IN here at the end. Sie ist nicht lange in unserer Klasse. She is not long in our class, meaning she hasn't been in our class for very long. Sie sagt, she says, sei nicht so traurig. This one has been complicated for people to understand. Nicht so traurig means not so sad. Sei just means be. Be not so sad, or don't be so sad. Ich habe auch 11 Fehler. I also have 11 mistakes. Remember, Fehler, it doesn't mean failure, it means mistakes. Then we've got, meine Mutter diktiert mir jeden Tag eine Seite. Eine Seite has been a little bit complicated, but the rest of it should be okay. My mother dictates to me every day a page or a text. Then notice we've got a circle here. Das musst du auch machen. So with musst, we're looking for our action am Ende, machen. So when we start trying to understand this, we start du musst. You must do that also. You must also do that. Das musst du auch machen. If you can get the musst und machen, you can work through that, rearrange things to understand how they're put together. Das musst du auch machen. You have to do that too. Ich erzähle Regina alles. Now remember, erzählen up here means tell, so when we say erzählen up here means tell, so erzähle means I tell. Ich erzähle Regina alles. I tell Regina everything. Ich habe zu Hause viel zu tun und meine Mutter arbeitet lange. So, I have a lot. Viel means a lot. I have a lot to do. Zu Hause. Zu Hause means at home. Und meine Mutter arbeitet lange. And my mother works long, works late. So then we get to the next statement, and there's a word in here that really throws people off, but we totally don't need it. So we're going to completely ignore this word plötzlich. We're going to even cross it out because we don't need it. So if we leave that out, 5 Uhr kommt Regina. So here we're saying 5 Uhr, at 5 o'clock comes Regina. Regina comes at 5 o'clock. And we've got a circle here, so it's du sollst zu uns kommen. We've got our action am Ende. Du sollst zu uns kommen. You should come, and then we've got zu uns, which means to us. And with our uns right there, if you just take that N out, it looks just like the word us. Du sollst zu uns kommen. You should come to us, sagt sie. She says. Wir können. Now, können, it is a form of kann, but it's the wir form. So notice we still have our en. Wir können zusammen mit meiner Mutter Diktat üben. So with können, we are expecting to see our action at the end, and our action is üben. So we can work through this to say we can something, whatever üben means, we can something with my mother Diktat. We can work on Diktat with my mother. We can practice Diktat with my mother. So üben means practice. And we don't even need the word zusammen. If you know that it means together, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Then we say, ich denke, warum nicht? Vielleicht wird alles gut. And I think, why not? Vielleicht wird alles gut. Maybe everything will be okay. So, that said, now you guys have all of the information that you need, and this video should help you answer all of the questions that are below. Good luck, and I will see you nächste Woche. Tschüss!